Hello, welcome to this update for North America and the Atlantic, like the tropics. So let's see what's happening. We'll take a look at the tropics first and then some severe weather. So here there's this tropical wave in the Atlantic, alright? 90% chance of formation the next 48 hours. So the Charlatan storm activity has persisted and continues to show signs of organization for a well-defined area low pressure located just west of the Cabo Verde Islands. If these structural trends continue, the system likely to become a depression or storm, possibly as soon as later this morning. Local heavy rainfall gust winds continuing parts of the Cabo Verde Islands today, and interest there should monitor, regardless of development. Over the next couple of days, the system is expected to continue moving west, northwestward across the Central Atlantic, 15 to 20 miles per hour. So it's a 90% chance. So we will see what happens if the convection persists or not. But I expect this to become Erin soon. That's the next name. So there's these two other areas. This one invests in 96L, so the one likely to form is 97L. 96L is already kind of weakening, just 10% chance, and it's still like some limited shower thunderstorm activity. And there's a disturbance 3, it's just 10% chance as well. It's a non-tropical area of low pressure, currently located a few hundred miles off of southeastern Nova Scotia, Canada, while shower activity, shower thunderstorm activity, the system is limited. The sea is drifting over warmer waters, the Gulf Stream, where some tropical, subtropical weather could occur. So just watching this, but you probably stay out to sea. So here's invest in 97L. There's a lot of convection with it, and it seems to be gaining some organization. So there are some global plus hurricane models for the general track. You track generally west, northwestward. Most of the models have this curving to the northwest, not affecting the Lesser Antilles, but still. If you are like in the northern Lesser Antilles, just watch this just in case. But you had mainly north of you. So there's the GFS. Most of the GFS members go north as well and strengthen down the road. And just one of them goes south, but that's like just one solo member. And there's the Canadian, it's more spread out, but most of the members are going north as well, with a few ones closer to the Caribbean. The intensity guidance is quite interesting. So practically all the models are turning this into a tropical storm strength, and then 90% of them turn this into a hurricane, and about 70% of models turn this into a category 2. One is even going to category 4, but don't look at that right now. But I think you stay out to sea, but this has some good odds to strengthen a lot, especially further out to sea, especially according to these models here. So better keep watching this. And here's like the GFS for some context does show like the wave there does form into a tropical storm as soon as tomorrow, like today and tomorrow, and then later by this weekend it already shows a possible hurricane north of the Lesser Antilles. It curves north and goes out to sea. And this one of the GFS is a powerful windstorm towards Europe, but that's like too far out. There's the European, it does show the COC as well. It tries to form slightly weaker than the GFS initially, only strengthens up by Friday, and then it goes like might produce some dangerous rip currents and swells along the Caribbean, the East Coast, but it goes and also curves away from North America, goes into the North Atlantic. And then after that, the European tries to form a small system, the Central Atlantic. There's a Canadian as well, shows like this goes, struggles a little bit at first, but becomes a tropical storm by Friday, and then it goes the same general track. So the East Coast of the US and Canada, might need to watch this. Both all the models are curving it further out to sea, not here in the coast. But the track of this is kind of close, so better just watch. There's some hurricane models for 97L, shows like the 0 on the H-wave. it does form into a depression later today, into a storm this weekend, and then like it goes and does turn it into a hurricane, like 960 millibars in the middle of the ocean by this weekend, surely next week. This is Saturday, so it does develop this quickly because it has a hurricane by Saturday. But there's like the H1 as well. By Saturday, it does have a 969 hurricane as well. But mainly far from land. There's the Hef's A show like the Hef's A is not that strong, but it show like by Friday still has a moderate tropical storm and then goes and strengthens some by Saturday. So we are watching, be aware. There's the Hef's B and does strengthen this slowly there through a tropical storm. It mainly goes north of the Lesser Antilles. So I think this is not a threat for you, except for swells and rip currents. But I don't think will affect the Lesser Antilles. But just keep watching. Things can change. But this will most likely be the first hurricane of the season. And here there's the European ensembles like 60 hours out. It has this in the Central Open Atlantic. And by 150 hours, it does show north of the Lesser Antilles. One member is south, but most of them are further north. And by 240 hours, it does curve this out into the Atlantic. Some very strong members near the Bahamas, but most of them curve out. So it's generally expected to go out to sea. So we'll keep watching, be aware in those areas, and little support on the Eastern Pacific, but as a small thing or two is possible. And the GFS also curves out to sea, but gets quite strong too. So be aware, keep watching those areas. The Eastern Pacific, there's still Hurricane Annette, so it's back to hurricane status now. It was a tropical depression a few days ago, and it has tropical depression Evo that's weakening. And be careful some locally gusty winds in northern Hawaii and like some swells. Gusty winds, not really, but like some rip currents and swells near Hawaii. So be aware those areas too. And here, the rain accumulation, the worst of the system will stay out to sea, like I showed you, but some regular showers as usual in the Eastern Caribbean possible. So be aware in Cuba, a few afternoon storms, Dominican Republic slightly less, but still a storm or two, and more spots Panama into Costa Rica, Nicaragua, those stronger showers and storms, especially Western Mexico there. So be careful. Those showers, strong storms in the southeastern US next 5 days, some 2 to 3 inches as well. And the Midwest, still a few storms. But like especially central Canada, the European showing some high accumulation, some rain to Quebec as well. So be aware and we'll keep watching. Here shows as well the Atlantic. There's still a lot of dry air ahead of the season, so the circulations right here, the low pressure, not the amount of dust ahead of it, but it's forecast to protect itself, and generally the dust will weaken a little bit. Wednesday, Thursday still shows some dry air, but by Friday, when it's supposed to strengthen more, already shows less dust. But if this system manages to penetrate this dust, it's a warrior tropical storm. But yeah, most models are strengthening it, but still watching what happens to this dust. The wind shear there is kind of mild right now, nothing really crazy, just further north in the Atlantic. But the only current problem for this is the dust. But it's generally forecast to become a hurricane. So be aware, just monitor this. If you are anywhere from the Lesser Antilles to Atlantic Canada, just keep this under your radar. But for now, it's not forecast to hit land. So. Let's keep watching. Now, some severe weather does show some marginal risk spots of the U.S. in Minnesota, North Dakota, and also New Mexico into Texas, Oklahoma. Some less than 2% tornado threat, just some wind and hail. So be careful. Strong thunderstorms compatibility, some risk for severe wind and hail impact parts of eastern New Mexico into Texas and South Plains as well, parts of eastern North Dakota into northwestern Minnesota late this afternoon and evening. So be aware, still marginal risk in upper Michigan and Wisconsin tomorrow, like just some wind as well and some minor hail. So be aware. And day three, still like a possible marginal risk in North and South Dakota, some gusty winds and hail to be careful and be careful in all this green area, general thunderstorms are possible. And day four is interesting. Another 15% in North and South Dakota, into Minnesota and into Central Canada. So we'll potentially watch Thursday into Friday very closely for some more severe storms. So that's a slight risk on day four. And then shows this isolated dry thunderstorm threat in Arizona and New Mexico today, in the same area tomorrow. So be careful, some dry thunderstorms as well. And here does show on the herd that cluster of storms across Oklahoma and spots of Kansas now, causing this moderate risk for flooding right now. And Monday, this diminishes later, and some severe storms in Texas, into New Mexico, and a few strong ones in Oklahoma later this evening. And those strong severe storms far in the north there into North Dakota and Minnesota, more over Manitoba, Western Ontario. So be careful, some gusty winds and hail. And Tuesday still show like some general storms in the south there. And still Monday to today in the Florida Panhandle, spots of Central Florida, especially North South Carolina, some more storms too. So stay safe in those areas. And still like, especially like in Texas and a few spots in eastern New Mexico, more Cape, but especially in Texas, and shows some Cape there in the northern plains as well. So be aware in those areas. And day one, excessive rainfall is a slight risk from Texas to Missouri. So be aware and all the slight risk in the southeast and in the Florida Panhandle. So day two, three marginals, day three, four marginal, like southwest into the Midwest, Northeast, and the East Coast. Day four as well, and day five still is a risk for some excessive rainfall in the Southwest, parts of the Midwest, and Southeast. So stay safe, be careful in the case of flooding, and those show storms, some storms in Arizona and New Mexico this week, a few ones, especially as far southern Arizona, and spots in the southeast heavier to North Carolina, like 3 inches or more. Even northern Washington there into Canada, this is some fronts, more rain in the upper Midwest. So be aware those areas, and still like some major heat risk. Even today, Monday, in Michigan, there some major heat risk on the west. So Tuesday in the northeast, some major. Even to Wednesday in Florida, still Thursday, Friday, and towards Saturday in the southeast again, more major heat risk. So be careful and stay cool still, because today, Monday, still shows in the European model like 110 between California and Arizona, some hundreds Central California and into Washington, Oregon, and even some 90s in Maine, spots in Texas, more than 100. So stay safe still, especially Tuesday, still shows in the northeast, a few spots on the west, especially in California, and into northwest to Mexico, nearly to like 44 degrees Celsius. So be careful. And the heat continues a few spots in eastern Canada as well, some 30s, and milder spots southwestern Canada, but still warm to hot in a few areas. By Wednesday afternoon to Thursday, does show more heat across Texas, spots Montana in the plains as well, the southwest especially, and even still in the northeast. So stay safe still. This heat during the night it does cool down some, especially central Canada, the Rockies, including the U.S. and northern Canada. Alaska is slightly colder. So Thursday afternoon, the heat does rise a lot there in the plains. Texas, and all the way to North Dakota, spots in the southwest. So stay safe still, and be careful those storms and everything. And this is Thursday to Friday. This surface cyclone spots in Manitoba and Saskatchewan with this front of severe storms Thursday evening. This is the slight risk on day 4 that the SPC had. So better watch this trough closely. And then Friday to Saturday, this goes more rain to Eastern Canada, and another one spots to the west. So be aware in those areas. We'll keep watching and we'll keep monitoring for this tropical system.